bringing home the bronze for the United States of America.
Anna, you and Larry said it best. It's going to be a big night. Listen to them. 6 gold medals, 6 silver, 6 bronze. And we'll come back in a moment.
The great thing about tonight's competition, this is the best in the world on their best events. We should
be there. The Soviets have ruled thus far and will rule probably in most of the apparatus tonight.
They have been dominant here at these Goodwill games. They will continue to be. But the surprise of the competition has been the Americans. Of course, Lance Ringnow, as we referred to earlier, came home with a bronze medal in the all-around championships. But, you know, that's kind of like the decathlon in track and field. Tonight, we'll see the individual events. All 6 events, the best in the world.
All right, there's a third member of our crew, and she's down on the floor right now, Kathy Johnson.
Thanks, Jim. One of the exciting aspects of event finals is that it's an opportunity for some of the gymnasts that may not have figured into the all-around competition to shine on their very best events and maybe even take home some medals. So we'll see the best of the best on their best events. Should make for a great competition. Back to you, Jim.
All right, Kathy, and the first will be the floor exercise. And again, as we take a look at the favorites, and they're not on the floor yet, I'll turn to Tim Daggett for his expertise.
Well, first of all, we have to look at Valery Lyukin. He did a triple back somersault in the first day of competition. Was fantastic. Scored a 9-9 on that event. Also, Sherba from the Soviet Union, fantastic competitor.
But I think we should also, as we look down that list of competitors there, see no USA opposite any of those names. The floor exercise, that is where we fell apart in the team championship and rallied to take the bronze, and no one has qualified for the floor X.
And that's right, and that's where, of course, you do qualify for this individual event, is in the team championships, and we had a disastrous performance. But ironically, it's where Lance Ringnow won his bronze medal in the competition yesterday. So it really isn't that weak of an event. We just didn't have a good performance in the team championship.
And now let us take a look at one of the men. Well, he is the man. After all, Vitaly Sherba won a gold along with the rest of his Soviet teammates on Friday night in the team. And then in the all-around, there was no question his worst performance last night in all 6 apparatus was a 9.75. And yes, you heard me, that was his worst performance. And Sherba may not be a Lyukin on the floor exercise, but he is someone to watch, and he's again one of those Soviets. And the surprise to a lot of people will be that Ogini, this may be his last, as Hannah Storm said, performance internationally ever. But right now it is Vitaly Sherba, floor exercise, in the individual apparatus race for the gold, silver, and bronze.
And this boy is something else. I shouldn't really call him a boy, but he is a very young man, I believe only 18 years of age, and he has a brilliant future in front of him. Was so dominant in the all-around championships.
This is truly his coming-out party internationally.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. He was asked about his performance in the competition, and he said, yesterday, I was a young man, and today, I am a man.
You're looking now at the officials because, of course, they will be judging, and we're waiting for the results of Jan Milbrot, the East German, who was the first to compete, and so we must wait for the officials. By the way, we'll talk more about the East Germans and their united with the West German team a little later on when the East Germans' best Silvio Kroll, who is a factor of this floor exercise, takes the floor, because it is the Germans who are talking politically about their future in gymnastics, not the onlookers from outside looking in at the unification of East and West Germany.
Yeah, there have been some problems. You know, Silvio Kroll, I was speaking with him a little bit earlier, and he talked about the problems of coming back together. They're 2 completely different countries.
And now we go back to last night, as Vitaly at this moment is waiting for the score of Milbrot of West Germany. Let's go back to last night, and this is just one of his fine performances. He is, of course, on the pommel horse.
And he is so elegant on this event. And the thing that's ironic here is he is elegant, but this stuff is as difficult as it gets on the pommel horse. From this view, of course, you see how critical it is to keep your shoulders and hips completely on balance, totally synced over the pommel horse.
The possibilities thus far have been 2 gold medals, 1 for team and 1 for all around, and this man won both of them.
Just fabulous. As we said, his future is so brilliant.
Vitaly Sherba, who like you, is now waiting, and now the score has come up for Milbrot, and it is a 9.450. So let us go from last night to tonight and get back to the floor exercises here, and Vitaly Sherba.
This, of course, is live on the floor exercise. If I had to pick one event, and it's so hard to do with a gymnast as great as Sherba, I would have to say that this is his strongest routine, and he'll show us why right off the bat. This is a double layout with a full twist. Watch this. Whoa, incredible. I can't tell you how much power is needed to do that skill. Double twist to an immediate punch front.
An appreciative shot, and they realize not only is he good, but he is doing many things that many other gymnasts will not do.
He certainly is. But you know, the thing that sets him apart, okay, every once in a while we get a nice close-up of his face, and you notice there's no strain. He doesn't look like anything is that difficult for him. However, right there on that front to a punch front is probably the only error I've seen him make in this entire competition. He was a little bit labored, a little bit strained, but not a major deduction. Here's his dismount, as difficult as it gets. A double layout.
And he hit it. 18 years old from Mint, taking dead aim on yet another gold medal, and perhaps many more tonight.
What a performer. And look at him walking off the floor. He is not even breathing hard. That was 65 seconds of all-out strength, power, everything, and he's not even breathing hard. It's incredible.
In the European Championships this year, Vitali was first in floor exercise, and hold on, also first in vaulting and high bar.
Let's take a look at his mount one more time here. He'll do 2 complete flips laid out. Now watch this. He starts to twist, and just unbelievable.
For those of you who have not been with us the other nights, the team championship on Friday, the all-around last night, Saturday, this is what we've been witnessing and what the world has been witnessing, the expertise and the depth of the Soviet team. 9-8-2-5, 9-8-2-5. He is in medal territory. Vitaly Sherba, most Silvio Kroll of East Germany, very capable of that kind of marker higher in the floor exercise.
Is certainly a veteran. There's an original skill. And Jim, you hit it right on the net, hit the nail right on the head right there. He's out of the competition for probably even a medal at this point with that error early on.
But out of the prescribed area, come out on the early pass. And now that we know that he's out of medal competition, we might say something that Silvio Kroll said when everybody went to him and said, this is the last time that East Germany will compete as East Germany. You'll have a unified German team. What do you think of that? And he said, we have lived politically and socially different lives for 40 years. It'll take a little time for us to get together as a team.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprising comment. At least I was surprised to hear that coming from Silvio, but it's obviously very true. They are 2 different countries, and now they will be one. Unfortunately, he will not win here.
Kroll is 25 years old, the best East Germans have ever produced. He's a world champion on parallel bars, world champion in vaulting, both in the 80s, in 85 and 87. He wants to be a coach, and his parents are here to watch. So thus far, it is Milbrod with a 9.450, but then after Sherba at a 9.825, Li of China followed up with exactly the same mark. Keep in mind that down in the line, there's Liukin, who is capable of much more.
And here's where the problem happened. Right here, right off the bat, just way too much rotation, over-rotates, and that one hand goes out. That's an automatic deduction of 1/10, plus the lack of control he shows. Here's his dismount. Once again, a little bit of a step back. Nothing major, but at that point, he knows that he is out of the race. You know, when I look at Silvio, he used to be one of the toughest competitors. Lately, I have to say he's made more errors than is expected. He just doesn't look quite as intense and quite as focused as you need to be to compete in this type of a stage.
Well, we can't read into his mind, Tim, but we can certainly, you know, perhaps visualize the fact that he is thinking of all the changes in his own country, and maybe his thought processes have gone away from the intense competitiveness of gymnastics to what is going on in his world politically as a German. But we just are only just passing that along as a comment, not as a fact.
Yeah, well, we have spoken to many of the East German athletes, and they have run into many problems. The subsidies, the payments have not been what they were in the past, and many of these athletes have had to take on jobs, whereas they were only training, and that was basically their form of employment. Now they have to support themselves, as many athletes do in the West.
Now, here's a fellow that you've not seen, you did not see last night, but Terry Lyukin. And when he gets on this floor exercise, look out. On Friday night, he was a part of the team that won the gold medal. So let us go back in time to Friday night and watch this performance by Valery Lyukin.
Let's preface this by saying that he is definitely the exception here. Watch this, a triple back. Incredible. You know, you watch that as a former athlete, and it's mind-boggling. But even the top athletes in the world marvel at that type of difficulty.
The first man ever to do the triple somersault. And now we have the score for Silvio Kroll, and it's 9.450. And so we will go to the next competitor. This is Miguel Rubio from Barcelona, Spain. And yes, that's right. In 1992, everybody will be gathering in Barcelona for the Olympic Games. He competed in the team championship as part of a mixed team, Spain, Mexico, Bulgaria, and Great Britain. But now he is on his own, going for the individual in the floor exercise.
Very good competitor. He actually trains in the United States. That's an Arabian double front, just a little bit of a step. Not quite the level of difficulty that you need in a competition of this nature. Nice full in, back out.
Miguel goes to Houston Baptist University, and as a student there in 1988, he was the all-around champion of the NCAA.
Well, he is a very good gymnast. There's no doubt about that. It's very difficult in a competition format like this. Like you mentioned earlier, Jim, he was not a member of a team, so he didn't have that unity. He didn't have the help of his teammates. He also didn't have the benefit of going up after a gymnast who's already helped to raise the score. When the Soviet's first gymnast competes, he probably scores a 9-8, and by the end of the rotation, they're somewhere near the 10 range, and he obviously doesn't have that benefit. His dismount, a nice double back, nice and clean, and a great landing.
Miguel Rubio of Spain. At the moment, the leaders, Sherba of the Soviet Union, Lee of China, each with 9.825.
That's a very, very nice routine. But as I said, not quite the difficulty that we saw from Sherba, and certainly also we did not have the chance to see Lee today, but much more difficult routines. Let's watch here. I believe this is his first pass. It's an Arabian double front. What makes that so difficult is the landing is completely blind. You don't see the floor until your feet touch. Here's his dismount. This was the highlight of the exercise. Perfect landing, and that is going to help him with his score.
This is the first of 6 apparatus gold medal attempts here tonight in the individual apparatus championships, and it is the last night as Rubio gets a 9.575. It is the last night for the men. They move out, and next Friday night, Boguskaya and the Soviet women move in, along with Kim Semeskal of the United States and that whole team. So more gymnastics next weekend. This is the first time we've seen a Japanese competitor on television. This is Shinji Gamao of Japan.
And of course, the Japanese were dominant in the sport of gymnastics back in the 70s. Basically brought it to a different level in men's gymnastics. Shinji mounts with a full in, back out, double back with one complete twist. Very clean. Now that's a very interesting pass. What he did there, he put together a combination of tumbling elements, a 1.5 twisting back somersault, punched the ground, and went right into a 1.5 twisting front somersault, or a Rudy.
This is his best event, and he gets no free ride in Japan. He works in an eyeglass store when he's not working out.
And he's really his time out there. As in Rubio's case, he doesn't quite have the difficulty to compete with a Sherba, but he's doing an excellent job here. No major deductions. His dismount. A full in back out, that's difficult. But unfortunately, he put his hands down, and that's kind of smart when it comes to time for the judges to give him a score.
As of this moment, as we said, Sherba of the Soviet Union and Lee of China have identical marks of 9.825. You would assume that they are in the race for either a silver or bronze, and should Liukin make a big mistake, perhaps they could share the gold. Liukin's next up, but this is Gamao of Japan in his performance.
Well, this is, I believe, his mount. He does it very well, just a small hop. He actually dismounts with the same skill. However, after 50 seconds of all-out tumbling, you're a little bit fatigued and just doesn't quite have enough strength to pull that one around. That will be a significant deduction, both the step and the hand placement.
9.350 for Ganao. And now we come to the Liukin. 23 years old for Alma Ata. In Seoul, about a year and a half ago, he was second in the all-around. In at the end of that same year, he broke his arm, so he didn't have a great year last year. This is not his best event, but if it's not his best event, which is a high bar, I don't know. I just don't want to see his worst event if this is not his best event, because he is absolutely incredible.
I have to disagree, Jim. I think this is his best event. And right there, triple back. Wow! And you hear the crowd. So tremendously difficult.
You can see the difference in the level of what he's doing and what his immediate predecessors did.
You know, I have seen a triple back done on the floor exercise maybe 5 times live. And every time I witness it, I'm just blown away. He makes it look so easy. That's the incredible thing. He actually was the first gymnast in the world to do this. He performed it in the '87 European Championships in Moscow.
We are not judges, but you're probably looking at the gold medal performance should he not make any serious error from here on in.
He's got one major tumbling pass left. This is very difficult, a full twisting double back.
How about that?
Well,
how about that?
fabulous. You know, this guy is such a daredevil. He just pushes the limits of gymnastics. Every time he comes out on the floor, he just pushes it a little bit further.
Larry Liukin. And they're the men who share the 9.825 score. Sherba, his teammate, and Lee of China.
You notice the kiss on the lips there. I think that's reserved for only people who do triple back somersaults and land on their feet. Watch this. Phenomenal. 1 flip, 2 flips, and he is pulling so hard.
9.9. 9.9. There is your leader and probably your gold medal performer. There's still some men left, but they're not in the class of Liukin. The floor exercise you're watching live from the Tacoma Dome. The Goodwill games continue in a moment. Let alone the 9.825 turned in by Sherba and Lee. So the first apparatus of the 6 and the gold medals have been decided in the floor exercise, and Valery Liukin has won it. And just look again as you look here at the gold and sharing the silver there, Lee and Sherba, but the night belongs to Liukin and his triple.
Once again, I would have to say this is the most amazing skill being done in all of gymnastics. Just look at the height. His body's probably maybe 10 feet in the air. Remarkable.
Well, thus far, there have been 3 gold medals given in men's gymnastics here at the Tacoma Dome, and the Soviet has won all 3. Let's go to Larry King. Thanks. That bronze medal for the U.S. gymnastics team. We asked Lance about his journey to these 1990 Goodwill Games. Well, here's his story in his own words.
Gymnastics has always been a part of my life. It seems that since my parents were gymnasts when they were younger and later went on to coach, it's inevitable that my journey to the Goodwill Games would be in gymnastics. Yeah, being a gymnast at 10 years old in Des Moines, Iowa, we were looked at kind of like a sissy. That never bothered me at all, the sissy look. I was getting big and strong anyway. I used to ask myself that, you know, when I was little, how come I got good quicker than the other guys? Or I started beating the guys that used to beat me all the time. And when I was younger, it was definitely desire, just because I wanted it so bad. And then as you grow up, well, you've heard the expression, the best gymnast doesn't always win. And that's the case. Now, you want to make as few mistakes as possible? Because I don't make many mistakes in competition, I think that sets me a little fun. That's been the difference between me and the rest of the pack. I don't like to do gymnastics 100% of the time. I don't like the idea of gymnastics ruining my life. I like making T-shirts just for relaxing things. No stress, no tension, just take your time and make a shirt. I'm in gymnastics right now because it's fun and I love the people in it and I like doing it. I like having something different than most other people. You know, that kind of special feeling that you do something or you work hard towards something and you accomplished a lot because of your work.
Oh, Lance Rignall, they called him a sissy when he was 10 years old in Des Moines. I don't think with the silver and bronze now they called him a sissy. His next event is the event that we're now looking at, and that is the pommel horse. Balas Tot of Hungary has already recorded a 9.725, and now here's Wang Hadong of China, about to start his performance on a very difficult apparatus in gymnastics, the pommel horse.
And this Chinese delegation has a crew that just packs the difficulty. Beautiful one pommel work. Such a difficult routine. Now he'll start showing us his flare combination right through the handstand and back down. And now he'll show us his spindle. He's turning his body the opposite way that he's circling. Certainly has got the support of this Tacoma Dome crowd here. Very extended, clean lines, flies up through the handstand, and a perfect landing.
There have been some very emotional moments here at the Tacoma Dome with the Soviets winning everything. They are getting standing ovations. The crowd here is very knowledgeable about gymnastics, very enthusiastic, and very compassionate. It gives a good connotation to Goodwill Games.
Now look at this flare work. Beautiful extension. These skills are called scissors, a requirement on the pommel horse. All he has remaining is his dismount at this point.
Wang is only 18-year-olds. The Chinese have sent a lot of youngsters here, a lot of their junior champions.
This is definitely a team of the future, and these young men will have to be reckoned with down the road.
A 9.85 for Wang. Coming up when we come back, Lance Ringnauld. He'll get his first chance to World Games. Lance Ringnauld with the silver of the team, a bronze in the all-around, and his first event of the evening, the pommel horse.
And not to take anything away from Lance, but this is not his best event. A tricky one to get started on, but working very well at this point. Oh, we have a little bit of a form break there. He's picked it up very well. The key to pommel horse is to make it look easy. The swings are long and smooth, and you must fly up to the handstand, and of course stick the landing.
Our leader at the moment is Wang of China, 9.85. In second place, Hungary, 9.725. And Chris Waller, who had a 9.9 in the team competition, is right behind Lance Ringnauld.
Lance starts off very well. Some behind the back work, traveling across the horse. This skill right here is called a Magyar travel or walk, named after a famous Hungarian gymnast. That skill right there originated by one of my teammates, Peter Vidmar. going up into the handstand and dropping back down into the pendulum swing called the scissors. As we said, this is not Lance's strong event, but it was a respectable job.
Pretty relaxed. And he said about that sprained ankle that he suffered earlier in training, it has little or nothing to do with anything anymore. He is just fine, thank you very much. Right now he is awaiting his score, and Chris Waller, who is the NCAA champion in the pommel horse, is awaiting his turn.
And this is Chris Waller's specialty, the pommel horse.
I don't mean to embarrass you, but the most recent individual medal by an American world competition in the pommel horse is the fellow to my right, Tim Daggett, who got a bronze in the '84 Olympic Games in this particular event. And this is what they're going through, Tim, as you take a look at the screen of the judges here.
Exactly. We are looking at one of the terminals, and there is a discrepancy, obviously. In gymnastics, the scores must be what we call in range. That means if one of the judges has a 9-9 and another has a 9-6, these scores are not in range. They must get together, talk about it, and find out where the discrepancy lies. And that is what they're doing right now. You mentioned earlier, Jim, that Lance looks very calm, very relaxed right now. Well, sure, he finished his routine. And it's usually a great relief when you've gotten off. And that's interesting. We see that right there. We actually have a 9.85 and a 9.5. Those are way apart on the gymnastics scale, and they have to come much closer before a score can be posted.
In the meantime, Ringgold waits for his score, and Chris Waller waits to compete.
You know, this was always one of the most difficult parts for me, not waiting for your score like we see Lance, but this part right here. You're all set, you're all psyched to go, and somebody's telling you, no, you've got to wait, you've got to hold. We're not ready for you yet.
9.70, and Ringgold has no chance at all for a medal in this particular apparatus, which is not his best event.
Well, he'll have a chance later on. As we mentioned, he is spectacular on the high bar and has a good shot, not only for a medal, but even a gold on that event.
Now, Chris Waller, remember, in the team championships on Friday night, had a 9.9 in this event, and he has won the NCAA championship in this event. So we look for something spectacular.
He starts out big. This is his flare traveling spindle, and he does it flawlessly. Chris has a wonderful line on the pommel horse, extended. When he's on, he looks very smooth, never labored. He needs to get off the pommel horse without a break, and he'll be right in there. Beautiful routine.
Hey, look at that. Chris Waller turns it on. The best mark thus far is by Wang of China, 9.85.
That's just about as good as I've seen Chris do it. No visible errors whatsoever. Let's watch his start here. Now this is tricky. Look at his hands are going every which way in between the pommels, straddling the pommels while he's flaring and spindling his body. Here's Chris's dismount, toes very well pointed, right up through the handstand and a full pirouette to a perfect landing.
And now comes what, for many people, you said the hard part is getting ready to go, but he's still awaiting that score. And here it comes, a 9.9.
Incredible score. You know, I said earlier that this American team was going to be winning medals, and they are.
Waller with a 9.90 leads, but Bulgaria of the Soviet Union is yet to compete. Stepping up. Woe of China has just come in with a 9.85 to take second to Waller, but this event, Mulvaney, just watch him. The Soviets are all good, and this is his event.
Well, if you thought that Chris Waller was flawless, take a look at this guy. He will do every trick in the book in this routine, and then some. Now, for most gymnasts, they'd be thinking about getting off the pommel horse at this point, but he's just getting started.
He won the world championship in this event twice.
This is a spindling flare, the same skill that Chris used, but he does it at the end of his routine. You know, in the team competition, he scored a 9.85. Kind of ran out of gas at the end. If he hadn't, I think he'd have gotten a 10 for sure. If this goes up there, I'm betting on a 10.
That could be right there.
I think he's got it. I don't know. I've never seen anything better than that in pommel horse. Outstanding.
Valentine Mogilny, twice a world champion in this event and a world championship performance tonight.
Beautiful, elegant, extended lines. Never out of control. Never holding back. His flair, travel across the horse while spindling. And now his dismount. Today, unlike in the team championships, he just flies to the handstand.
And his score is 9.975. Not quite a 10, but nevertheless, he is the leader. At the moment, Chris Waller is second, and Valery Belyanki of the Soviet Union will be the last to compete. So you can just kind of mark up yet another medal for the American team in the person of Chris Waller. But the question is what? Because here comes Belyanki.
You know, that is disappointing. I'm really surprised that he did not get a 10. That was a 10 in my book. Belyanki, of course, he's working very well also. Although he swings very nice, not quite as extended and in control as Mogilny. Had a little bit of a break there also. That could open the door for Chris Waller for a silver medal. But an excellent job.
Good job, and remember, every goal thus far, the team, the all-around, the floor exercise tonight, and now the pommel horse belongs to that strong Soviet team. The question is, what did Belyanki get? Did he get good enough to take second, tie for first, take first, or what? With a 9.975, Mogilny is the leader.
This is where that one little error, so you see that? He bends his elbow right there. Just depends on what the judges think, if they caught that. But that could very well be that 1/10 of a point that Chris Waller needs to not only medal, but bring home the silver.
Well, as they march on to the next apparatus, which will be the rings, which you will see, we await the results, the final results here, to see what the finish is. We know that Chris Waller has won a medal. We know that Mogilny has won the gold. We're just waiting to see who gets the silver, who gets the bronze.
And I'm sure they are conferencing at this point. If they weren't, we would have the score. There most likely is a discrepancy here.
And I'm sure you know, if you're an enthusiastic follower of gymnastics, there yet remains to be decided tonight. 4 more. Here we go. 9.95. So he will finish second to Mogilny. They get the gold and the silver, and Chris Waller of the USA gets the bronze. The Soviets continue their domination. The next time you see us will be on the rings. So from the Tacoma Dome, let's go about 30 now with our own medalist, Kathy Johnson.
Thanks, Jim. We're here with Valentin Mogilny and his wife, Olga Bichereva, who was also a world champion. Valentin, the most beautiful pommel horse we've ever seen in this country. Did you think you should have gotten a 10? Our announcer thinks you should have.
Какое у вас ощущение после этого выступления?
Ну как, я, во-первых, очень устал, потому что было большое напряжение, я подходил практически самым последним. Нужно было выигрывать.
First of all, I can say I was very tired. There was enormous tension, but I knew I must win, and I just pulled myself together and did it.
Hey, does your wife help coach you?
Ваша жена помогает вам тренироваться?
Да.
Yes, she does.
She does a wonderful job. Congratulations. Beautiful routine. Let's go back to Jim.
Спасибо большое.
And there's the champion of 9 years ago, Olga Bicherova. And right now on the rings, we've just begun. And there's another Soviet. That is Valery Belyanki, who has just taken the silver in the pommel horse, finishing up his routine in a, well, when you mention the rings, Tim, you just mentioned strength and go from there.
Strength and swing, and of course a stuck dismount. And there you saw it, B-rated, most difficult, full twisting double layout. They plan on giving nothing away this evening. I'm sure that Arkayev wants gold and silver. on as many events as possible.
Well, Larry's been talking to those in Moscow about the depth of this team, and they've shown a lot of it here.
They certainly have. As a matter of fact, Larry was speaking earlier with Dmitry Bilozerchev, one of my all-time favorites and a good friend of mine. I wish him well. He is now retired from the sport of gymnastics, but this boy is definitely not retired. That skill takes a little bit of strength. That's called a Maltese cross. Now look at this dismount. Full twisting, double layout, and, you know, the thing that's so impressive about him is he is never perfectly on his landings, but he always sticks. He's swinging his arms around, he's shifting his body weight, but he does not move his feet.
9.925. Now that is the first competitor. The first gets a 9.925. Where can you go from here? But still, there's Lyukin and Waller, who could equal that or perhaps beat that. Here's Jens Milbrot of West Germany.
Well, it certainly will be difficult for any of these athletes to better that.
Tim, if they have not been watching us on Friday or Saturday, they may be shocked to know that the coach, Arkayev, of the Soviet Union, benched a world champion for this meet. He's here, but he's moving mats around.
That's right. The current all-around champion of the world did not compete. He traveled. He's in shape, but according to Arkayev, he's not good enough to make the team.
The performance by Milbrot of East Germany.
He's working very well, shown a good amount of strength. As we've said through our coverage, the top performers on the still rings don't just do what the rules say. They add an extra strength part, add a unique swing combination to go above and beyond the requirements. His dismount, a tucked half in, half out, and a little bit of a step. That's going to cost him. His dismount, a tucked half in, half out, and a little bit of a step. That's going to cost him not only because of the step, but because the level of difficulty on that dismount really not up to par of what we just saw from Belenki.
Remember, Belenki, as we watch, Milbrot has set the tone with a 9.925.
That's a nice inverted cross. And the thing that's unique about that is he swings from one strength part right into another strength part. On a beautiful iron cross. Take a look at some of his swing now. Here's his dismount. The only thing different about this is, first of all, the step, and also that he tucks his knees, which makes the rotation of the flipping much easier because he is smaller.
9.675 for Milbrot. And at the moment is in second place. Here's America's entry, John Roethlisberger, the University of Minnesota. More rings in a moment.
I've been working out.
Cablevision customer service at 408-452-3355.
Back in the Tacoma Dome, we're in the third of the 6 rotations tonight for the individual apparatus gold, silver, and bronze medals. Belenki has set the standard in the rings with a 9.925. No one else is close to him. And as you take a look at the American team there, as they are looking up at the Spanish man, Miguel Rubio, of whom they are very familiar. With whom they're very familiar.
As a matter of fact, many of them compete against Miguel in the NCAA program. He's working very well. Watch this skill. Oh, he didn't do it there. I thought he was going to do. Beautiful combination. Pike Yamawaki right into a tuck double front with a half twist. Did that very well.
The scores have been rather high here, Tim, in the rings, and we keep that in mind as we know that Waller and Lyukin and Roethlisberger are yet to follow. But when you start out with a 9.925, that really sets a high standard for everybody else. Let's put out on the floor and listen. You can hear Hello, Coach Jimmy.
That's right. That is my old coach, Yefim Furman from UCLA. Chris, of course, also a Bruin. Getting some last-minute instructions from his coach. Miguel shows us very nice work there. Swinging right through the handstand. Now, there's an interesting combination. A piked double whip it right into a double front with a half twist. Very difficult.
9.625. They did not score high for him. And some of the crowd here figures that Miguel should have done better than that with the judges.
Well, I kind of have to agree. You know, he doesn't have possibly the name recognition of some of the other athletes, but a very nice routine.
Now Sylvester Cholany of Hungary, 20 years old, and in the European Championships in this event, he finished 3rd this year.
Starts off right away with a kick to a cross pullout, pressing right up to the handstand. Very difficult. Now that was a very interesting combination. His own skill adds a little bit of originality, and there is a category in judging gymnastics where that originality, his own skill, is rewarded. My only thing that I don't really care for is his form isn't that good. And a big step on the dismount.
That will not help at all. Keeping in mind Belenki's score, remembering that after the Cholany score coming up, Roethlisberger, USA, Chris Waller, USA, and Valery Lyukin.
Physically a very strong competitor, but as I was saying, my only criticism is his toe form is a little bit to be desired. His legs aren't as locked as they need to be. His line in a handstand, not as good as some of the Soviets. And of course, the huge step on the landing will incur a very large deduction.
John Roethlisberger waiting for Cholany to get his score. Roethlisberger, here comes the score now. Waiting for that board to turn around. 9.625 for the second time in a row. Now John Roethlisberger. University of Minnesota, 1990 all-around champion in this country, coached by his father, who's the head coach at the University of Minnesota. As a matter of fact, a Soviet letter to a Soviet newspaper back in the Ukraine talked about John's father, his sister, and now John, what a pleasure it is to see John here in the Goodwill Games.
A true gymnastics family. A little bit off balance there, but very impressive. Oh, he has a major break already. Unfortunately, the bending of his arms there, and we possibly will see that when we look at the replay, will be a minimum of a 2/10 deduction. Just looks a little bit fatigued. Not quite as strong as he needs to be, and we're seeing it here also. He looks a little bit shaky. You notice the rings are moving. Here's his dismount. A double twisting double.
And a big jump.
Big jump on the end. That'll be another minimum 2/10 deduction.
Everybody's chasing Belenki, and the American and the Soviet that might be able to catch or pass him are Chris Waller next up and Valery Lyukin.
Yeah, that will certainly not catch Mr. Belenki. But this is very impressive. Low iron cross. Now watch right here. His arms bend there to about 90 degrees, and that is going to be a substantial deduction.
Good crowds here. They had about 12,500 yesterday, 11,000 on Friday, and maybe, well, at least 12,500 here this evening. The women, which began a week from tonight as we watch John Roethlisberger, I should say a week from Friday night, are sold out. They're coming to see Boy Sky and all the rest of the champions. And young Kim Semeskel of the United States, just 14 years old. John Roethlisberger continues to wait for that score. Here it comes, 9.55. So not in contention for a medal at all. Now here's Chris Waller, fresh from winning a bronze in the pommel horse, about to take the rings. And Valery Lyukin, who has won the gold in the Floor X, will follow and complete the competition.
We mentioned earlier that Chris's strongest event was the pommel horse. This a good event for Chris, but parallel bars and high bar probably a little bit stronger. But he starts out impressive with a back roll or an Azarian to a cross. That's D-rated, and he kips to an L cross. Holds it a little bit long just to show the judge that this isn't that difficult for me.
Anything better than 9-7, and Chris Waller will be in medal contention.
Well, so far, he's right on track. Nice giant swing to the handstand. The critical part for Chris is swinging combination. A little bit of a control problem there, as you notice, the wavering of the back. Now his dismount, he must stick to be in contention. Double layout.
He did. Little teeny hop, not quite over.
A little bit of a hop, you know. When they're that small, sometimes you get the benefit of the doubt, but
now here's the situation: a 9.925 for Belenki, and then Ristasov of Bulgaria's 9.70. So he is currently in second, and lurking in the background is Valery Lyukin, who is very good in this. So we'll see how Waller does with this performance.
Very difficult to move into a cross position like that, and he kips right into an L cross right there to show something a little bit different. But you know, when you're competing on this level, you're in the finals of the Goodwill games. It's not good enough to just go through your exercise. You've got to do it perfect, and Chris had a little bit of a problem near the end, and of course the hop on the landing.
And there is the Yukon. Already a gold in hand tonight, and a gold in the team on Friday night. The question is just where's Chris Waller in the scheme of things? Is he competitive? Is he in the race for a medal? Or is he not? Let's take a look again while we wait for the score.
This is Chris's dismount here. The double layout. Now you'll notice just a little bit of a slide there. If he could have just froze his feet upon impact, I don't think we'd be having the deliberations going on downstairs right now, but he left that room for doubt there, and I'm sure some of the judges are
9.75, he's going to get a medal. He's going to get a medal. That puts him in second with Lyukin yet to come. He'll get his second medal after just having a bronze in the pommel. But now looking for here is what you see so far. And you can see the Waller second. He'll probably drop down to third because here comes a man who is a master of the rings, Valery Lyukin.
That's right, and unfortunately on the floor exercise, I think I said that that was his best event, so I can't say it on the rings. However, he is something else here. Look at that. Back hip right to a cross, and then he lowers down into a back lever and bounces right to another cross.
Just a different standard, Tim.
Yeah, they're starting from a different point, that's all. They're just a little bit ahead of everybody. Like I said, they do more than the required amount of strength, way more. And then he shows us I'm not just strong, but I can swing with the best of them.
And they usually stick the landings.
That is critical. His dismount coming up right here. He's got to nail it.
See that? Held it.
Oh, boy! One more swing of the arms. But as we talked about in the team and in the all-around, there is no deduction in the book specifically about the swinging of the arms and the adjustment of the body. If the feet do not move, technically the judge really doesn't have to take that deduction.
Well, on the floor exercise, it was 1-2 Soviets with Lee of China third as you take a look at this fine performance by Lyukin, who also won the floor exercise. And it was Soviets 1-2 in the pommel horse with the American Chris Waller third. And it looks like it's going to be the Soviets 1-2 here, with again Waller taking the bronze.
Well, there is no doubt that he will at least win a silver medal with this routine. His dismount, a double layout with a full twist, and look at him fight. One swing, two swing, one more time. I got it.
Well, we came in talking about Lance Ringnauld, and why not, for what he is. Gymnast. This is Vitaly Sherbak, all-around champion in these games, and also winning a gold in the team championship, getting the silver in the floor exercise.
And Li Shuaoshuang from China also will receive a silver, and the point to be noted there, he is only 16 years of age. competing with the best in the world.
You know, we talk about the depth of the Soviets. We've had 3 events tonight, and we have had 4 different Soviets do very well.
Your medalist.
Here you are, the Yukon, won the floor, Mogilny, coached by his wife, the pommel horse, and Belenki, first in the rings and got a 9.925, won that. What they do, they've had the 3 floor exercises, or I should say the 3 apparatus, the floor exercise, the pommel, and the rings, and they'll have 3 more now, but now we've heard this quite a bit. It is, of course, the Soviet national anthem played for the Yukon. Gold medal thus far, and now there have been 5 of them have been won by the Soviet gymnastics team. They are incredible. They set a new standard. The rest of the world is trying to catch up. A lot more men's gymnastics later on in our broadcast. Now back to Larry King.
Thanks, Jim. And Tim Daggett are at the Tacoma Dome, and let's rejoin them for an update, guys.
All right, Larry, we're in the vaulting right now. Lance Ringnauld had a superb first vault. They take the 2 vaults, and then they average them out for their overall score. And as Tim Daggett will be quick to tell you, this is one of the better vaults that Lance has ever had.
And he's doing an unorthodox vault, the Yurchenko, with a full twist, and he rocks the landing.
He got a 9.8 for that, but a 9.5 for his second vault, and wound up with a total of 9.675. Silvio Kroll, in the early going from East Germany, is the leader with a 9.775. Ringnauld is second, but we still have Belenki and Sherba of the Soviet Union yet to go.
And watch this full twisting Yurchenko, and the most critical part, he sticks it cold.
At the moment, Lance Ringnauld is in second place in the vault, but the Soviets are yet to come, and we'll see them from the Tacoma Dome. In time, Valery Belenki has already won the rings, his first vault. The top score at the moment is Kroll, 9.775 on the average of his 2 vaults.
And a beautiful laid-out Sukahara with a full twist. Just a little bit of a step on the landing. That vault, of course, popularized by the legendary Mitsuo Sukahara from Japan, of course. Now watch this. He gets excellent repulsion off the horse. His body rises way up in the air. Laid out with a full twist, just that little bit of a shuffle step. Once again, from a different angle, throws his arms out to the side, flares it a little bit early. Remember, though, the men in the finals do 2 vaults, as do the women. However, the women in the team and the all-around will not average the score. They take the highest score. Here, the men will average the score, and that will determine the medalist.
9.725. What's the old showbiz term, Dick? Folks, you ain't seen nothing yet. This is Belenki, but right behind him is Sherba, who could turn in a 10 here.
That's right, but he'll try to outdo what he just showed us there. That was a Sukahara with a full twist. He'll go it 1 better this time and add another complete rotation in the twisting phase. So he'll do a double twisting Sukahara.
There it is.
Just a little bit off balance. Yesterday, in the warm-ups for the all-around competition, took a very big spill, and both the Soviet coaches came running over and conferred and walked down and did pretty much a flawless vault.
And speaking of Soviet coaches, you just saw him. And there's the man who currently has a leader with his average of 2 vaults, Silvio Kroll of East Germany, 9.75.
And he is no stranger to the lead. He is a world champion in the past. But watch this, 2 twists. It's a little comforting to see, though. He actually has a technical error while he's doing this. You'll notice about halfway through the rotation of the twist, his arms come a little bit over his head. That causes him to slow down in the flipping mode and gives him a little bit of problems when he has to land.
Still awaiting that score, 9-7-2-5, remember, on the first vault. And the second vault has not yet been posted. So when you see Kroll there, it's the average. Belinkie is just his first of 2 vaults. And you would assume that, well, he'll either stay where he is or move ahead. It's that simple. And waiting is Vitaly Sherba, who is just an absolute superb performer on the vault, as he is in many other situations. After all, he won the all-around championship last night. Here comes the score, 9-8-0 for his second, and that gives him 9-7-6-2, and he is still behind Kroll of East Germany. So Kroll is first, Belinkie is second, Ringnauld is third, and the man about to go right now, Vitaly Sherba, is the favorite to win it all.
He will be showing us the most difficult vaults of the competition. This is the same style Lance used, the Yurchenko. Beautiful full twist, but a little bit of a hop on the landing, and he is not happy with that. I've seen him do this vault with just the full twist about 4 times, and every time he's done it until now, he has stuck it cold. That one, he took a hop.
As we said earlier, this is one of the newcomers to international success, Vitaly Sherba, only 18 years old, and he is the European champion.
Now, the same vault that Lance shows us, but boy, does he rise off that horse. Tremendous post flight. Very aggressive here. The round off onto the board, back handspring to the horse, and a laid out full twist. Flares his arms out to the side. And you see there just how critical the hand placement on the horse is.
You know the kind of talent they have. Well, it's a 9.85 for Sherba in his first. The kind of talent they have in the European Championships. Well, Vitaly finished first in the floor exercise, the high bar, and the vaulting. Now here he goes for yet another goal.
He'll mimic his teammate, but with his own style vaulting. Belinkie started with a full twisting Suk, did a double twist. He'll do the same here. Double twisting Yurchenko. Whoa! Incredible! Well, we haven't seen it yet. I thought we were going to see a 10 with McGillney on the pommel horse. It was a possibility with Belinkie on the rings, and now we have a legitimate shot. The crowd wants it.
For the first time in the gymnastics, the Soviets, with a chance to finish 1-2, gold, silver, will not. Kroll will take the silver.
But watch this. Double twisting Yurchenko, and he just nails the landing. I think they're going to give it to him.
Well, you're disappointed when they didn't give Belinkie a 10 in the rings. Let's see how you work out for your 10 in the vault by
Well, you know,
Sherba.
I'm not an advocate of throwing a score for no reason at all, but darn it all, comparative to the other gymnasts, this deserves a 10.
We're waiting with you. It looks like Sherba has yet another gold. He came into tonight's competition with 2 golds, a team gold, the all-around gold, and now looking for a gold in the vault. The Yukon has 1, Mogilny has 1, Belinkie has 1, and now the 4th man on the team is trying to win the 4th gold medal of the night, Vitaly Sherba. And he gets the 10. And look at Belinkie.
You know, I am so happy to see that. He really deserved it. One of the most memorable.
He's getting a standing ovation. They're standing in the Tacoma Dome for Vitaly Sherba and the 10. And the gold medal in the vault.
Well, personally, I've been in this exact situation, and it's quite a thrill.
Of East Germany finishes second, and for the first time the Soviets take a bronze. Belinkie is third.
The gymnastics, the parallel bars, Chris Waller and Lance Ringwald, and of course our 2 Soviets, Sherbo and Belinkie. Let's go live to Jim Simpson and Tim Daggett, guys.
Our final competitor of the evening, Larry, Valery Belinkie, At the moment, Guo Linhua of China is in first, and with that little step, we'll never know, but Lance Ringwald is in second. Here's a men's vault. Sherba won it, of course. Kroll was second, as we said, and Belenki was third. But this man is about to get another medal for the United States. Will it be silver? Be it bronze? We'll wait and see for the Belenki score. Tim?
Well, I think that Lance should probably be happy with a bronze on this event. Sherba was excellent. Let's take a look at some of Belenki. He was just motoring his way through this parallel bar routine. However, on the dismount, a big step. Very uncharacteristic for the Soviets.
And Sherba, believe it or not, got a 9.7. There's a 9.875 for Belenki, and that is going to be a tie at the top. Guo Linhua of China and Belenki of the Soviet Union, 9.875, and Lance Ringwald with a 9.800. Oh, yet another bronze medal for the USA. Earlier, this was Lance.
Lance starts out with a very innovative skill. He's the only one in the world doing that. That's a Maltese on the parallel bars. Now he'll giant into the middle. Here is Lance's major skill here. Double front, just barely gets this one around. See a little bit of a form break there, but he dealt with that so well. His dismount, nice double pike, and just a little bit of a shuffle. But overall, a very strong routine for Lance Ringwald, and of course, our first event where we have someone besides a Soviet winning. We have a Soviet, obviously, Belenki wins, but Guo also takes the gold with him.
Oh, the American men have a total of 4 individual bronze medals and 1 team. Remember, in 1986 at the Goodwill Games, the Soviet won every single men's gold and every single medal.
Now we have to look at this again. Sherba's perfect 10.0, a double twisting Yurchenko. And that right there tells it all. This is so tremendous. He gets beautiful push off the horse, 2 complete twists, and it's like radar.
And let me again put it in context. All of the golds in 1986 in Moscow in the Goodwill Games were won by the Soviets. The United States team won not a single medal in the men's competition. Already they have a silver and 4 bronzes thus far, with a high bar and Trent Demas coming up, along with Lance Ringwald. That's yet to come. But there is Sherba.
Our only 10 of the competition thus far. However, if there's another event where it's possible, there are maybe 4 gymnasts in this last rotation of high bar who have the potential, in my opinion, to score a perfect 10.
And in my opinion, and everybody else's, it's an exciting event, perhaps the most exciting, but again, back to the P-bars, which you've just seen. This is earlier, remember.
Belenki is a master at the underbar swing. You just saw 3 giants in a row, one with the Diamondov. Very difficult to secure a grip good enough to do those skills. No errors thus far. However, right here, it crumbles just a little bit for the Soviet.
Lance Ringwald had the lead with a 9.80 all the way through the competition to Guo Linhua, and he scored a 9.875. And then Belenki, that you saw, the 9.875 equaled that, and they're the gold medal performers in the parallel bar. And here is Guo Linhua on the parallel bars earlier.
He does a very difficult routine. There's his giant swing. Now watch this skill that's coming up right here. It's a double back somersault. He throws his arms out to the side and just holds on for dear life. Look at this in slow motion.
You're not missing a thing, Tim, as we take a look at Guo again. The noise you hear in the background is everybody getting ready for the high bar. They're cheering the warm-ups. And when we come back, we've got the final apparatus, the final race for the gold, silver, and bronze, the high bar from the Tacoma Dome. This is, about 2 hours ago, and he will be the first up in the high bar. Tim, if you have to pick favorites, I guess, again, you go to the two Soviets, Lyukin, and the other one, Sherba, and the two Americans, Trent Demas, and, of course, Lance Ringgold, who shared the high bar gold medal in our own national championship. Well, first things first, and here's a Soviet. That is Valery Lyukin.
That's right. The Americans here have a legitimate shot at not just a medal, but a gold medal. But buckle your seatbelts at home, folks.
This is something.
And get ready for complete reckless abandon. Starts right here. Tkachev way in the air. And he's not done. The only one in the world to do this skill. A full twisting front flip out of invert. And he makes it look so easy. And one more big one, a triple back. Oh!
And that costs Valery a chance for the goal. Normally, and we've been watching now for 3 days in this particular Goodwill competition, they have stuck with every single landing, and this time you can do not.
Well, I am stunned, especially from this guy. He's about the toughest guy you'll ever come across, but here's his first release skill, a laid-out Tkachev. Extremely difficult. And now, like I said, the only gymnast in the world to perform this, a laid-out full twisting front from inverts, and he grabs it just a small form break. But here is where it all went bad. Well, no, we're going to look once again at his full twisting front. You'll notice right on there. This is a very interesting vantage point to see just exactly how critical the hands are. Now watch, he holds on to this just a little bit too long, lands on his heels, and his feet just slip out from underneath them.
And being the first competitor in this particular apparatus, they're taking a little extra time for the score of Valery Lyukin. And waiting is Li Shuachuang, who last night in the all-around on this particular event fell not once but twice. Some possibilities here, 9 out of 10, 15 medals. The Soviets have just won in the Goodwill Games. Hey, there's a smile from Valery.
Well, he's already won a gold medal here, so I'm sure he would have preferred to bring another one home with him in his suitcase to the Soviet Union, but such a personable young man, really a nice guy.
9-4, oh, that's very disappointing. 9-4, oh, that just about eliminates him from any possibility. You can just surprisingly scratch Lyukin from the medal contention. Now here's Li Shuachuang, who is capable, but as we said, not once but twice he fell last night with a chance in the all-around in this final apparatus.
And we have watched him in practice do some very beautiful work on the high bar, but as Jim said, he had a disastrous performance yesterday.
Let me give you one more statistic. He is 16. He is now in international competition. There's a lot of pressure on this young man.
But obviously a brilliant future ahead. His major skill comes right off the back. It's a Kovacs over the bar. Happens right here.
Uh-oh, there he goes again. And that will take him out.
You know what's very interesting here, Jim? I saw him take about 3 major falls in warm-ups one day, and since that time, I don't believe he's caught this release. It's just he really took not just falls, but they were actually quite dangerous types of falls, and he's just a little bit shook. I think he needs to get home and do that in a safer environment before he's going to be confident enough to do a skill like that again.
Now, as we watch Lee complete his performance on the high bar, keep in mind Trent Demas is next, the American.
Well, he has all but conceded his medal opportunity. He opted to take virtually everything else out of his routine and just get off the bar at that point, which is probably a smart decision.
The surprise is not that young Li Shuachuang fell, but rather that Valery Lyukin came up with a 9-4 performance. That's your big surprise thus far. And as we said, Demas is next. And you can hear the crowd already getting ready for Trent as he walks out from Albuquerque, 19 years old. And he's the one that had such a great pyramid challenge against the East Germans earlier this year.
Now watch this, just inches away, but unfortunately, an inch might as well be 1,000 miles when you're talking about a release on a high bar skill.
He awaits his score. Trent Demas, this is absolutely his best event.
Bar none, Jim, and he scored a perfect, well, close to a perfect 10, a 9.9 in the team competition. Really helped to rally the U.S. team to its silver medal performance in the team competition. Right there, the man in the tan suit is about as famous as you get in the sport of gymnastics. You've heard us refer to it several times during our broadcast, the Ginger skill on the high bar. That is the world-famous Eberhard Ginger, who originated one of the first release skills on the high bar. Before his generation, it was thought to be impossible to actually let go of the bar and re-grasp.
Some people may say, since Lee fell and took everything out of the rest of his performance, what are they taking so long for the score for? You would just think that it's not a good score.
Well, it does seem academic at this point. However, they really do, for the integrity of the sport and just to make sure they don't create any problems, they should come up with his exact score, even though he is not going to win a medal.
Demas has an outstanding chance, but we've seen 2 disappointments thus far within the first 2 competitors.
And this certainly does not help Trent's cause. I know I've been in this situation many, many times in a finals and hoping to get out there and show a great routine, and it's just they're holding you back, and you want to get out there.
There it goes, 8-2, 8-2. So Trent will now be able to go after they come over the 8-2. Now here is the co-champion in the national championships of the United States, Trent Demas. The crowd is with him. He's got the smile, looks confident. Let's see how he does.
Well, he may have smiled for us, Jim, but I'm sure he's a very nervous person at this point. This is a big moment for Trent, and the biggest of all comes right here. He hasn't caught it today. This is a Kovacs.
And there goes Trent Demas, and he too is out of it, the Americans. So in the first 3 competitors on the high bar, we've not seen an outstanding performance. The Yukon a 9-4, Lee fell, Demas fell, and that kind of opens it up for Sherba and Kroll, who is very much, although he fell last night, and Lance Ringnaugh.
Getting a little bit of advice from his coach, Ed Birch, from Albuquerque, New Mexico, owns a private club there called Gold Cup Gymnastics. Let's see if Lance can put together a good effort for the rest of the way, although it is academic at this point. Very nice to Tkachev, and there's that Ginger skill we talked about, named after the man who is head judge on this event. He has a big dismount. This is a triple back somersault. And not a bad landing. A big hop. That was more for pride at that point. You know, Trent had his hands on the bar. We saw the Chinese gymnast a little bit earlier miss the bar totally. Trent actually put both hands on the bar. He just was not in the proper alignment to hold on all the way. Let's see if we can see what went wrong here. Here's his Kovacs over the bar. Good distance. Well, I see exactly what happened there. When he was going to regrasp the bar, his hands don't completely wrap around the bar. He hits his wrist a little bit first, and it just bounces him right off. Let's watch. You see that? His hands don't contact the bar first, and when you're falling that quickly from such a height, there is no way you're going to stay on. But this is pretty good. Triple back somersault, holds onto it just a wee bit too long and has to take that small hop back.
Ironic that Trent Demas, the man who triggered the high ball excellence for the United States in the team championships on Friday, Ed Birch, that's his reaction when he saw Trent fall. That Trent Demas, that's a 3. But he still waves to the crowd. More to go. Sherba, Wow, Rubio for the scratch, Silvio Kroll, and Lance Ringnaugh. And here comes Sherba.
His last attempt to win another gold at these 1990 Goodwill Games. He's certainly a star to be reckoned with, not only in the future, but right now. This skill is so beautiful. This is a tucked Gaylord. And he does it like that every every time. That's the thing that's amazing. We've seen all these falls here this evening. Just beautiful work. He's so poised, so composed. Watch his dismount, double twisting, double layout. Oh, and just a small step. That look, I tell you, that, you know, I had that landing. You see him clench his fist a little bit. He's happy, but he wanted to stick that one.
He is looking for his 4th gold medal of these Goodwill games and his 2nd of the evening. He's already won the vault, remember.
Second of it.
This kid is something else. Watch this here. This is a Gaylord 1 that does it better by far than anybody in the world. And exactly like that every time. He goes right into a one-arm combination, into a reverse heck.
990, he's our leader.
Let's take a look here. Hands exactly where they're supposed to be. Once again, show you just how critical that is, doing a 1 3/4 flips forward over the bar. However, that 9-9 does still leave the door open, and we have competitors that are capable of scoring higher than that.
Sherba the leader. Maikus is 2nd from Hungary, and here's Guo Linyao of China. To follow him, Rubio of Spain, and finally Lance Ringnauld of the USA.
The difficulty on high bar has just exploded in the past year. Everybody just seems to be pushing each other a little bit further. Watch this release. Gaylord 2. A little bit of a problem coming out of it, but held form very well. Very nice reverse heck right into a Ginger. You know, all the most difficult skills he's dealing with very well. However, the transitional skills, the kips, he's having just a bit of a problem with. His dismount, a full twisting double layout. Oh,
lost it.
That's too bad. Beautiful routine. He had a legitimate shot there to have a gold all to himself. He tied for the gold on parallel bars. I don't think that's going to be enough, however.
The Chinese with this young team, Tim, have done rather well. A bronze tonight and a tie for a gold so far.
Look at this combination here. This is a reverse hecht or a Tkachev right into that Ginger we talked about, named after Eberhard Ginger, the head judge on this event. And you notice he just struggles a little bit there, has a little bit of a knee flick. And then, of course, he took the 2 little steps on the dismount, which will certainly grade him down lower than a 9.9, I would think.
2 competitors remain. Rubio for the scratch Silvio Kroll, who fell in this event last night, and Lance Ringnauld, who, like Demas, a gold medalist, they tied in our national championships in Denver. Demas has already fallen.
Well, you know,
Ringnauld, remember last night and in the team championship, he was the last man to go in the event of the Floor X. And the night before that, he was one of the last to go in the high bar. So Lance has been there before.
Oh, yeah, he is a veteran, and I'm sure he'll hopefully deal with the pressure quite well. Lance has had such a successful Goodwill games. But he wants to bring the gold home, I'm sure.
9.775 at the moment. That is good enough for 3rd. The bronze medal. Well, the door is open for Rubio and, more importantly, for Lance Ringnauld. The final moments of the men's competition. Remember, next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, the women will be in the Tacoma Dome with the world champion in that sport. And, of course, she is a Soviet, as the Soviets thus far have dominated. And they've taken the team championship, the all-around championship, and they've won every single gold medal tonight. That could not happen, but Ringnauld
and
would have to do
Rubio
something.
are the only ones that stand between complete Soviet domination.
As they did in 1986 in the Goodwill games.
Rubio is a replacement, as we mentioned, for the great German gymnast Silvio Kroll. That's a very interesting combination. The only gymnast in the world that I've seen do that. And And as we've alluded to earlier, that will give him bonus points in originality. You know, Jim, he's an exciting performer, but you notice the little knee bends and the slight separation of form. Here's a triple back.
No, big hop at the end, but still a good performance.
In any other competition besides the Goodwill Games final, that would be a great performance. But when you're comparing it to gymnasts like Sherba, Liukin, it suddenly does become a good performance.
We've gone through 3 days, and as you take a look at Rubio, we're down to our last competitor, due up, Lance Ringnauld.
That was that interesting and original skill. He actually jammed his body in, did a full twist on that one arm, right into a front somersault to a re-catch.
All right, we'll be back with the score, and Lance Ringnauld. Let's quickly go to Larry King. He is tied for the gold medal and broken the string, although he shares it with the Soviets. But here's Lance Ringnauld, a gold medal for men's gymnastics, Goodwill Games, the high bar, the last competitor.
This just moments ago here. Lance's best event. His major release comes right here. This is a Kovacs, and it is perfect. Followed by 2 releases to Kachev, to a Ginger way in the air. Has to stretch for that one, but he's got it. This is the best work that I've seen Lance do. He does a difficult dismount. It's a double twisting double. Watch this. There it is. Just a little hop on the landing, and wow.
And it was an agonizing amount of time, regardless of what the fans thought. They knew he had a good mark. He did. They took a long while and then said a 9.90, which ties him with Sherba for the gold medal in the final event of the men's gymnastics in the 1990 Goodwill Games.
You know, I'm just very pleased that Lance won this event. However, you know, it's almost impossible to say, Jim, but I actually believe that Lance was the better man on this event today. There's the Kovacs, done very well. Now watch this, reverse heck with his legs together, extremely difficult, followed right by a Ginger.
Though the results are the same as in 1986, the Soviets won every single gold medal, but they share this one. And Ed Birch, the head coach, is thrilled. His team has done, Tim, much better than anybody expected. There you are, Ringnauld and Sherba, and they are right now with Kathy Johnson.
Thank you, Jim. I definitely have the 2 stars of the night of the entire men's gymnastics competition right here. Vitaly Sherbo and Lance Ringnauld of the United States. And what an appropriate finish for the Goodwill Games. They tied on the high bar. You seemed very excited that Lance did so well.
Как вам выступление Лэнса понравилось?
Прекрасный гимнаст.
He's a beautiful gymnast.
Мне нравится то, что
I like that American gymnasts
очень поднялись в классе,
have risen in their class of their performance.
очень хорошо стали прыгать.
They began to jump better on the balls. They are much stronger now. I think with time, they will be very competitive.
The Soviets are by far the very best gymnasts in the world. What makes you the best?
И кто будет лучшим в этом соревновании?
Из американцев?
No, the Soviets.
Из советских.
Я не знаю.
It's very difficult to say.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Lance over here. Very exciting competition for you as well.
Спасибо.
Are you aware of what you have done for USA Gymnastics here at this competition?
Well, I'd like to think so, you know, to put it on the map, you know, anytime I can publicize it, it's great, you know, but today was very fun.
What about the high bar? Were you expecting such perfection from yourself today?
Well, again, you know, individual event finals, it's only one event. You blow it, it doesn't kill you all around, so you can go all out here, and that's what we did.
Great. Congratulations, Lance. Back to you, Jim.
All right, by our count, 1 gold, that is shared by Lance Ringnauld, 1 silver in the team competition, and 4 bronze. By far and away the best the United States has done internationally since the Olympic Games in 1984. A great 3 nights at the Tacoma Dome. Back to Larry.
Thanks, Jim. Let's go right back out to Husky Stadium. And Bob Neal, what's happening?
Tonight in Seattle, women's gymnastics. The Soviet Union and the United States battle for Goodwill gold. Svetlana Boginskaya, a member of the gold medal winning team in Seoul and the 1989 World Championship team in Stuttgart, is hoping to lead her team to another gold medal tonight.
This event happens but every 4 years. This will be my only chance to win a gold medal.
But the current U.S. national champion, Kim Zameskov, is assured that she and her teammates will give the Soviets stiff competition.